Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm John, this is many a true nerd, and welcome to Baldur's Gate 3, and I am so excited to be kicking off this series today, because this is not just my first playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. On top of that, this is actually my first ever Dungeons & Dragons campaign, because just in case you're completely new to Baldur's Gate 3, that's what this game basically is. It's a big, shiny, sexy adaptation of the tabletop RPG Dungeons & Dragons that's over 50 years old at this point. But I've never had any experience of it whatsoever, so yeah. A lot of this is gonna be brand new to me in all sorts of ways, so okay, let's just dive on in to what many people consider to be one of the best RPGs ever created. Oh, and obviously, because so much of this is new to me and I don't know what I'm doing, yes, I'm going to do the sensible thing here and jump straight over to Tactician difficulty, this game's hard mode. Not the hardest difficulty, mind. There is honor mode right there, which is basically permadeath, but yes, I feel like I'm not quite ready for one single mistake and wiping out my entire campaign, so yes, we'll be sticking on Tactician, which is still really rather difficult, especially for someone who's never done any D&D before, so yeah, there's a lot I'm going to need to learn very, very bloody fast here. Still, with that decided, let's jump on in. So okay, I've just had a weird thing put in my eye, and it's time for me to build a character, and okay, this caused me so much stress, because this is a world where, as you can see, there's a lot of things you need to pick in character creation, and this is a big RPG, where by picking some things, you lock yourself out of something else, so I found myself, yes, paralysed and stressed out about the character builder for a very long time. But then I discovered two things that made this process a lot easier. Which is, one, Baldur's Gate 3 actively wants you to experiment with your character and try stuff out without punishing you if you don't always make the absolute optimal choice first time. Like, the ability to respec your character in this game is given to you really early on, and it's pretty cheap to do. So you really don't need to stress about building this character perfectly straight away. And two, yes, basically, what I want to do in Baldur's Gate 3 is interact with the world in all sorts of ways, meaning I want to be good at all sorts of different things. And what I didn't realise the first time I played this is, yes, there is in fact a class in this game that very specifically does that. And that is the Bard. These guys are apparently designed specifically to interact with the world in all sorts of interesting ways. And then after I realised that, it did strike me, yes, when I play an RPG, very often the first character I play as, this is a long-running tradition, is called aria, which is a type of song, so yeah, this just kind of felt meant to be. So yes indeed, I'm going to be playing as a bard, but not just a bard. Because, yes, in Baldur's Gate 3, you don't just pick a class and then stick with it all the way through the game. you can multi-class, picking multiple different classes and blending their strengths together, and I've got a plan to do precisely that. It's probably a terrible plan because I don't know that much about D&D, but screw it, we're gonna give it a go anyway, and yes, we'll get back to the exact plans for that later. Right, next decision, the race I'm going to be playing as, and I've decided to go for Tiefling. And to be precise, down in the sub-race menu, a Zariel Tiefling, and I've got two reasons for this. One, Tieflings look awesome, because they've got big horns and whatnot, and honestly, that's as good a reason as I need. But two, Zariel Tieflings come with one ability I think sounds really rather cool. They just have the built-in ability to gain advantage on all intimidation and performance checks, and okay, we'll get into exactly what advantage means once we get into the game proper. For now, let's just say, yes, it's going to make me better at those things when they come up, and as a bard, I'm going to be doing a lot of speaking for my party, so being able to, intimidate my opponents, that's rather useful. And as for performance, honestly, I just like the idea of being really bloody good at performance. Like, I don't know how useful that is. It doesn't sound desperately useful if we're trying to, save the world from the squid people or whatever. But if the opportunity does show up to put on a performance, I want to be ready to do that. I should say, by the way, yes, since the last time I played this in, early access, and just when it first came out, I have sat down and learnt some of the basics of D&D mechanics, so I'm hoping that, yes, what I'm putting together here is, bare minimum, at least a coherent character. Not that it's going to be difficult to beat the last characters I built when I played the game in early access, because, yes, the last time I played this, I did give myself the same spell twice, and then decide that True Strike sounded like it was good, when that is apparently, famously, one of the worst spells in all of D&D. So, the only way is up, quite frankly. Though, funnily enough, I don't want to go into the actual build just yet. Instead, I want to talk about background, because one piece of advice I was given going into this series was what's really important in a D&D campaign is to have a story. This is a role-playing game, so you should have an idea for who your character is. Doesn't need to be complicated, but it's a good idea to do so, and I've decided that Arya the Tiefling here is going to have the background of a charlatan, meaning she is good at deception and sleight of hand, because my character is secretly not actually a bard. She's a con artist who is planning a heist in the Bard's College, which is why I've decided that, yes, her starting instrument, which you can choose and delightfully, yes, when you actually select each instrument, the background music does go over to being in that instrument, is going to be on this occasion the hand drum. Because, well, one, it's the only one that her tail doesn't glitch through, but also, it strikes me as the easiest instrument to learn. So, if you're just trying to break into the Bard's College to rob the place, that'd be the easiest one to pick up in a hurry. But yes, as a result, I'm not going to be a goody two-shoes bard. I'm going to be doing a lot of deceiving. I'm going to try and make a lot of money. And maybe, if the opportunity presents itself, I might save the world from the squid people, assuming someone's willing to pay me to do so. But okay, let's get into the proper character build here, and I'm going to keep this as simple as I can for the time being, which is, as a bard, I'm a spellcaster. Specifically, yes, the charisma skill is what determines how effective I am at casting spells, together with how good I am at performance, which is very important to me. So yes, we're going to be whacking that straight up to as high as it goes. That being 15, though I'm allowed to, yes, assign one skill, a +2 bonus to get that up to 17, so yeah, I feel like charisma just ought to be as high as it can get. Technically, this is a bit wasteful, because charisma 17 means I'm gaining a +3 to all charisma related checks, which I would also get at 16. But yeah, if I'm at 17, then logically I just need to boost my charisma by 1 when we actually begin the game in order to get that up to a +4, which we get at 18. Next up, let's skip up to the two at the top here, strength and dexterity, because these are basically the abilities that determine how well you can use day-to-day weapons. Strength is a bit more about melee weapons, meaning you can use just about everything in the game in that regard. Dexterity, you get a much more limited supply of melee weapons, but you get ranged ones as well. So, just taking a bit of one of these two is probably a good idea. So given dexterity comes with other bonuses like initiative determining turn order, let's just go for that one. That leaves me with not that many skill points remaining, and this is where things get a bit interesting. Because technically, I don't really need intelligence and wisdom for my, spellcasting or weapon usage or anything. However, that's not all they do. Intelligence and wisdom, as you can see here, actually affect a huge number of skills in the game. So I'm going to boost these both up to 12, meaning I get +1 to basically every wisdom and intelligence skill in the game. That leaves me with, yes, enough points to get constitution up to 12, and 1 point left over. Let's just give that to wisdom, pretty much entirely arbitrarily. Now this here is almost certainly not an optimal build, but it does help me be good at every skill, and that's what I want. And speaking of being good at everything, yes, I can also make myself proficient in 3 skills. Now because I'm a charlatan, I've already got, yes, deception proficiency built in. Logically, the sensible thing to do might just be to take the 3 charisma related perks, but here's what I'm thinking. I'm not sure I actually want to do that, because I've already got +3 on all of those built in, so I think I don't really need to be investing in these here skills. Instead, I'm going to take ones that just strike me as sounding interesting up here, so investigation, analysing clues, and solving mysteries. That just sounds so badass, obviously we're going for that. And on top of that, yeah, insight. Read people and situations, detect liars. Now that strikes me as very useful for a character who's going to be doing a lot of talking or whatnot. And as for the final skill, okay, I'm going to be honest, I can't resist just giving that to performance. Like, screw it, I want to be better at performance than anyone else in the entire world, okay? When the situation finally arises where I can just challenge the king of the squids to a karaoke competition, I am going to slaughter him. And finally, cantrips and spells. Cantrip just meaning like a little cheap spell that you can use as much as you want to. And what's very interesting is, yes, bards next to plenty of other magic users are not particularly focused on murdering people at the start of the game. What bards are about is helping their friends and hindering their enemies. In fact, of all these cantrips, literally only one does any damage at all. Vicious Mockery. It only does like between 1 and 4 damage, which is really not much. But the damage is not really the point. What's more important is, I insult a creature, and it has disadvantage on its next attack roll, meaning it's going to make it much harder for them to hit me or my friends. That's the real power of Vicious Mockery. And for number 2, I'm going to go for Minor Illusion. So yeah, rather than actually hurting anyone directly, I can just make an illusion that forces people to come over and investigate, which could potentially be very useful indeed. And finally, over to spells. So yeah, these are more powerful spells, but there are limitations on how much I can use them. And once again, there's a lot of support stuff in here. That's what bards are very good at, so I want to have a good spread of abilities here. Some that help my party, some that help us interact with the world outside of combat, and some that actually do damage. So, most importantly, straight away, speak with animals. I'm taking that immediately, okay? Anything I can speak to, we're going to be speaking to them. Next up, I'd like to be able to do a little bit of healing. So, yeah, I'm going to take Healing Word, which allows me to just top up my allies' health a bit. So okay, that's 2 support spells. The others I'd like to be able to actually, do some damage with. Here we go. This is, yeah, probably the heaviest hitter bards have access to at level 1. Dissonant Whispers. 3 to 18 damage. And on top of that, you can frighten your opponent so they're less effective going forward. Abso-flipping-lutely. And finally, I'm going to go for, yes, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, which doesn't do damage, but does force the opponent to fall to the ground laughing and stay there a while. So yeah, if there's an opponent I just want to get out of the fight for a bit, this could be a good way of doing that. So, yeah, I'm going to say that's a pretty good spread, okay? Various support abilities, but also plenty of ways I can actually help in combat too. And finally, the most fearsome button of all in this entire process. Edit Appearance, so okay, I'll be back in like an hour or so after I'm done tinkering with my character. Okay, sometime later, and here we go. This is gonna be Aria. Yes, it took me quite a while to find a hairstyle that worked with the horns, because plenty of horns just kind of go through the hair, and it doesn't really make sense. The eyes, by the way, I'm especially proud of. Because you know me, I love a scar on the character. Notice that one scar goes straight over the eye there. So what I did was give myself, yeah, sort of glowing demon eyes, but yeah, I gave myself a slightly more vibrant eye over on my left. but my right eye is a tiny bit more dull, because I'm assuming it got damaged by that injury, which I got during a previous heist that went very, very wrong. Never said I was a good thief, by the way. So there we go. That's going to be our character, though. As I say, there's a lot of this we can change down the line if it doesn't work out, okay? All those ability points, those skills, even the way my character looks, you can change that very easily. So, yeah. This will do as a starting point. Let's jump on in and begin the adventure.
You need a guardian.
Oh, never mind. Sorry, I forgot I also need a guardian. Okay, just out of interest, who's like the smallest race? Because I like the idea of my guardian just being a really, really cocky tiny. I think it's a tie between the halflings and the gnomes. So, you know what? I'm going to make my guardian a gnome. Because the last time I played this game, I was playing as a gnome. In fact, yes, I think it was this precise hairstyle. So, welcome back, John from the past. I look forward to you guarding me from whatever it is I need guarding from. Now, if you're not entirely 100% clear on what it is you've just seen, don't worry, neither am I. We'll figure it out together, okay? I assume most of this makes sense if you're very familiar with D&D. But you know, there's just lizard people who ride around on dragons who are apparently very opposed to squid people flying their squid ships around, meaning now just got us stuck in a war between squid people and lizard dragon people. And I'm guessing neither of them are going to be super into me. Also, I think we're now in a howl. And here we go, we're now in the game. So, right, let's cover off the basics here, just in case you're completely new to Baldur's Gate 3, which is, I appreciate, there's a lot of stuff on screen right now. Despite that though, yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 at its most basic is actually pretty bloody simple. I'm playing on the PC version, so I'm using mouse and keyboard, and all you do is click somewhere and your character goes there. Want them to investigate something, give it a click, your character will go and give it a look-see.
Someone else got out.
And alright, that'll be the person we saw in the room earlier, marvellous. And if you need a bit of guidance, just hold down left alt, and the game will highlight interesting things you can interact with. Like for example, this here mind flare corpse. Okay, free gems, I'll never say no to free gems, marvellous. But sooner or later, yes, you stumble across something a little bit bigger and more interesting. Like say, this nursery right here.
This is the pool that thing came from. The parasite now writhing behind your eye.
At which point, yes, the exquisitely good narrator in this game starts telling you about it, and you start being able to interact with it, and this is where, yes, we get to what this game is really about. And that is rolling a dice, because, as I say, this is just Dungeons & Dragons, the tabletop RPG, and obviously everything there is decided by rolling a dice, so that's what we're going to do here as well. So I could reach towards the pool, but it would probably be a better idea if I was to, like, investigate it first, especially given I'm not bad at investigation. And yes, when I say rolling a dice, this game doesn't hide the dice rolls, which I find delightful. So yes, I am going to roll a dice that has got 20 sides, or a d20 as we're going to be referring to it going forward. The difficulty class is 10. All that means is roll a 10 or above and you succeed. So right now, it's about 50-50. However, there are reasons why it's going to be a bit easier for me. I took intelligence up to 12, that represents +1 intelligence. And on top of that, investigation was one of the things I very specifically said I wanted to be good at, so that's another +2, meaning whatever I roll, I get to add another 3 onto it, so I don't actually have to roll 10. 7 would be good enough. So just roll the dice here, and spot on, by sheer coincidence, precisely 7. So yeah, I only passed that because of the things I chose to do during character creation.
The casing is fragile. The slightest touch could cause it to crumble.
So yes, as a result of that, maybe don't reach towards the pool, because 1, it might not take my weight, and 2, it's full of, like, you know, the things that just got put into my eye. So honestly, I've had enough of weird bitey eyeball worms for the day. Instead, let's just keep on keeping on, because yeah, if we just click on doors, they open, that's a fine, opening the way for us to proceed. And yes, I sort of faintly remember this area, because I've definitely played this prologue before, but it was like a couple of years ago, so hello there, dead goblin, and also Illa Theatre Records.
Images of goblins, their habits and histories flash into your mind.
So yes, because I've got, like, you know, a weird worm or whatnot in my brain, potentially I'm getting psychic flashes off of these records or whatnot. And yeah, the nice thing is, if you want to learn more about basically anything in this game, you can. So, you know, there's just a brain jar here, just tap T on that. It's a humanoid brain, alive and in perfect condition, suspended in fluid. So, yeah, you can just learn about all sorts of stuff if you want to. And by the looks of it, yes, I could probably shatter it by just shooting it with a bow or whatnot, but that'd probably be bad for the brain, so I'm not going to do that. Oh, speaking of which, how, like, armed am I right now? Okay, I've got a hand crossbow, but no melee weapon. I need to get one of those from somewhere.
A schematic of a nautiloid flashes into your mind. Nerves, sinews, as much living being as ship.
You've got to love the narration in this game. It is just magnificent, and okay, probably best we learn as much as we can about what's going on this squid ship, which appears to be, yes, alive or whatnot.
A feeling penetrates your mind. An anomaly, one like ourselves, unconnected from the whole. Caution.
So yes, I've got a little thing inside my head, but I'm not connected to the whole. Like, you know, I've not been entirely absorbed into the collective consciousness or whatnot just yet.
Worlds beyond worlds flash before your eyes. Empires of a grand design traversed by ships just like this.
And I'm guessing that wasn't the first, yes, kidnapping people raid that this ship has done. The squids have been doing this for some time. Can I have, like, a flipping weapon, by the way? Seriously, I could do with a weapon.
1,000 years of humanoid history. Elves, dwarves, humans, and more flash behind your eyes.
So, okay. Possibly they've been doing it for a very long time, and... now this, I think I do half remember from the last time I played this. Just pop onto this here elevator. Beautiful. Head up top because... oh, yeah. I thought I heard someone calling out to me from up here. Right, mosey over towards you, friend. Let's see what we can do for Mianath here.
Yes, you've come to save us from this place. From this place, you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Please. Before they return. They return.
So, okay, you may have noticed up at the top left there for a second, yes, not every skill check is as flashy and showy as that first one. You don't always have to be taken to a different screen to do a dice roll. Loads of tiny checks are just going to be occurring in the background, which on this occasion just means that, yes, I passed a perception check, which feels weird for me, but whatever. Yes, I noticed that, the brain sort of jiggling in excitement. Kind of feel like I'd be happier if I hadn't noticed that, to be honest, but... yeah, this is what's gonna happen to me, isn't it? You had one of those things put in your eye, it went in your brain, and after a while, once it gets, like, bedded in or matures or whatnot, the brain starts becoming an independent entity. The question is, yeah, do you now identify as, like, a new independent creature, or do you still have any connection to that guy who... I can't help but notice he's crying. There's tears on the right there. I don't appreciate that, but yes, let's see what this thing thinks it is.
A newborn. Born new from this husk.
You realize you're talking to an intellect devourer, a minion of the mind flayers who abducted you.
Remove us from this body. From this case. Free us. Please.
And okay, we could shatter the skull, or carefully remove it. But no, in investigation, let's figure out what we're looking at here, because, once again, that's something I'm actually quite good at. So, roll the dice, beautiful, and there we go, nice and easy.
You notice edema, a swelling of the brain causing pressure where it strains against the shell of the skull.
So as a result of that, I've just opened up a new thing that I could do. Medicine. So yeah, a strength check is a terrible idea. My strength is so bad, I have to actively deduct points off my dice roll. My dexterity is pretty good. That's a +2, that's decent. The medicine is only a +1, so I didn't take medicine as like a skill that I was proficient in. However, despite only getting the +1 from wisdom, because I did the successful check with investigation, I get to roll with advantage. So yes, this is very important. When you roll with advantage, you roll 2 dice and get to keep whichever the highest is, which massively boosts your chances. So that is much, much better. This is why I wanted to be this type of tiefling. This means I can do the same thing every time I run into any performance or intimidation check. I feel like there's not going to be much call for, like, you know, putting on a performance here on this nautiloid squid ship where everyone's being turned into a brain monster or whatnot, but you never cooking know. So, right, roll 2 dice right there, and yeah, just either one of them needs to be 9 or above. That will be fine. So, there we go. 1 9, spot on. So just quickly reach in, give the brain a quick tug.
The brain lifts from the skull, but you notice an opportunity. You could cripple the strange creature, making it more subservient, should it prove a threat.
And no, we're not going to do that to Brian the Brain. We like Brian the Brain. Brian the Brain's great. All Brian the Brain wanted was to be free. Speaking of which, down he goes. And okay, he's grown some tentacles. Oh my goodness, look at his tiny legs.
We are free. Our freedom is ours, friend.
The creature pauses, listening. Something behind your eyes seizes in recognition.
We must go to the helm. At the helm, we are needed.
So okay, me and Brian are now talking to each other. He called me friend, so I feel good that I didn't mutilate him. So, yes. What's the deal at the helm, precisely?
The brain tenses as though querying an unseen advisor.
Do you not hear it? We will not survive here. We are needed to navigate. We are needed to leave this realm.
Oh, and here's delightful, by the way. There's now a lot of blood on the floor. Yeah, Minath is a bit on the dead side. Nothing on him either, though. Do appreciate he's missing the top of his head on his little picture too. That's delightful. And okay, just in case the opportunity doesn't present itself going forwards, I'm just going to put on a quick performance here, because as a bard, I'm allowed to do that anywhere, anytime, etc, etc. Also, I quite enjoy that, yes, I've only got 9 hit points, but my friend, who is a newborn brain I just pulled out of someone's head, he's got like 27. He's 3 times tougher than me, so I mean, that's just straight up embarrassing. Right, Brian, you're with me. Let's keep on keeping on and crack on towards, presumably, the helm. Because, yeah, there's only one way to leave this room, and it's stepping outside for a second.
Abomination. This is your end.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles. Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the strange woman's eyes.
Oh, my head. What is this? Skvar, you are no thrall. Vlaakith blesses me this day. Together, we might survive.
So, okay. She attacked me because she thought I was working for them. Or rather, maybe, you know, the parasite in my brain was a bit more advanced.
We carry mind flayer parasites. Unless we escape, unless we are cleansed, our bodies and minds will be tainted and twisted. Within days, we will be Geich, mind flayers. We can do nothing until we escape. That must be our priority. First, we exterminate the imps. Then we find the helm and take control of the ship. As for that thing, it will remain tame as long as it believes we are thralls. It may be of use in the fight to come.
Okay, that's adorable that she actually acknowledges Brian and is willing to work alongside him because, yes, potentially he'll be able to help us. And here we go, we're jumping right into our first fight against these little goblin imp demon creatures. Now the fight's begun, we've switched over to a turn-based system. That's the turn order up in the top there, and though I'm sure fights will get extremely complicated as time goes by, at their most basic level, they're actually pretty simple, which is I could do 3 things during my turn of any fight. I can move, I could do an action, and I could do a bonus action. And hilariously, yes, the strongest among us, Brian, has rolled the right to go first during this fight, which is delightful. So, yes, we need to figure out what he's doing. Well, probably a good start would be running up to one of these little imps and giving him a bit of a whack. Because, yes, obviously, one of the big things you could do as an action is attack your enemy. So, you know, use my movement to move to him, attack him as my main action. That seems like a good starting point. Though once again, everything comes down to dice rolls, even if you don't see him on screen. Like, the amount of damage that Brian's gonna do is, yeah, 2d4s plus 2. So it's gonna be between 4 and 10 damage. So, off you go, Brian. Have fun with that. Beautiful. He does 8 damage, and as a result, yeah, that was a good damage roll, and the imp goes down. Meaning all you could do now is move a tiny bit further and take a bonus action. Though the only bonus action you've got available is jumping. Which doesn't necessarily help me much, because if I were to jump forward, say, that would just leave me exposed to these guys coming and attacking me. So, You know what, that's probably not a bad thing, all things considered, given that guy might try and retreat away from you. So you just jump forward. That's literally all you can do, because yeah, you've moved all you can move. You've done your attack as a main action. You've done a jump as a bonus action. So therefore, your turn ends, and we move over to me. It's now my turn, and hilariously, yes, I still don't have, like, a melee weapon. So I'm entirely dependent on this here bloody hand bow. And yes, unlike Brian, we only have a 90% chance to hit, because it's not just the damage that's caused by rolling a dice. It's also accuracy. So this hand bow is obviously a bow, meaning among other things I get to add my dexterity onto my accuracy. Meanwhile, this guy's chance to dodge is determined by his armor class or AC, which we can check by just hovering over him and tapping a T. So yeah. AC of 7 is really, really bloody low. Like, normally 10 is like the default, even if you're wearing no armor. So, open a fire, hit you for 7, you go down as well. Yes, this is going very, very well indeed. In fact, under the circumstances, I think we're going to do sing for me. Lovely. So we're just going to do that. Marvellous. And Bart can just do this in the middle of a fight, and it's fine, which I find deeply delightful. The problem is I don't have enough movement to get Lae'zel over to our final enemy, but honestly this fight has gone pretty damn smoothly so far, so get over to here. You do have a short bow, but your chance to hit with it is actually a bit on the lower side. Because Lae'zel's got worse dexterity than me. She's actually a fighter. She just wants to bonk things with her sword, and she's very cocky good at that, so yeah. She's not going to be as strong if we force her to be using ranged weapons. They're just not her thing. You know what? 85% still pretty good. Give it a go and... right. Wiped out the entire team before they even got an attack in. Beautiful. Before we move on, though, there's a lot of cocky corpses in here. Like, you know, imps, mind flayers, thralls, etc, etc. We need to loot all of these, because I could really do with a flipping melee weapon, in case it comes down to, like, you know, a fight or whatnot. Instead, caustic bulb, that's like, you know, a grenade-y type thing I could throw, so I'll take it, but seriously, one of you guys had a weapon, right? Oh, now that'll cocky do nicely. Or rather, it won't. This is a weapon which I'm not actually capable of using that well. I don't have the proficiency for it. So yeah, over on the character sheet, Lae'zel, because she's a fighter, she can basically use any weapon of her choosing. That's A-OK. Unfortunately, I'm a bard, which means I can use more weapons than, like, you know, a wizard could say, but I still need to be a bit more specific, so yeah. I can use various types of swords, and I'm good with hand crossbows. That's why I was, you know, hitting pretty accurately with that thing a second ago. But I can't use that weapon we just picked up. Or rather, I could, but it would not be a good idea.
We need to get out before it's too late.
Yes, I know. I'm just busy looting. And speaking of which, I think you, my friend, might be... oh. Now we're flippy talking. You see, the weapons I just picked up there, they're tagged with finesse. Finesse means I get to use my dexterity instead of my strength or whatnot. And specifically, right, the rapier here, 3 to 10 damage is decent. I can actually use it, as in I'm proficient in it, so yeah, this is just a really solid weapon for me. Anyway, keep on keeping on, just to climb the horrible fleshy nonsense here. Sorry, arterial mesh, officially. Yeah, just click on that, your character will climb it. So, yeah, navigation's pretty easy. Just point where you want your character to go, they'll find their way there. It concerns me that the game just drops an autosave.
Here we go.
What's in the next room, precisely? Okay, excluding the, yes, slightly spiky decor, this doesn't look too bad. So, mosey on in, check all the bodies.
The man isn't dead, but he's totally unresponsive.
Okay, but perhaps of more note, he's wearing a rather fancy skull necklace.
Light flickers in his eyes, but he seems totally unaware of his surroundings.
Oh, they've both got one. Okay, Lae'zel, me and you can have matching skull necklaces. So, yes, I think I half remember this. This room is controlled by this here machine. There's just one small problem with that. It's a weird alien magical machine, and I'm not very good at weird alien magic.
Another mystery.
So yes, I can't actually, like, you know, read the various labels over the buttons. They all do different things, but I'm not 100% sure, like, what those things actually are. Because yes, Arcana is just not a skill I'm good at, so here's the thing. I want those necklaces, so I could, in theory, push a button at random, maybe it'll kill them, maybe it'll wake them up and I have to fight them. In either case, they end up dead anyway. So what if we just cut out the middleman and get out Occam's razor in order to stab them with it? Right, Brian, this one's on you. Though, hilariously, yes, there is a 50% chance he might just miss an entirely unconscious corpse for the simple reason that, you know, there's still a dice roll going on in the background, which is delightful. But you didn't miss that time. Well done, Brian. On to the next one. Beautiful. And there we go. You just missed a person who is literally unconscious and unable to fight back. Keep on going, Brian. You'll get there eventually. I even got some experience from that, which is delightful, and okay, this bot over here just keeps yelling, apparently. Yes, I will get you in just a second. I am busy looting. Gosh darn it, I can't have the outfits or the fancy skull necklaces. They do have money, though. I like money. Oh, you know what, though? That does make me think. On the topic of looting, yeah, these weapons are very heavy, so Lae'zel, you're stronger than me. You've got way more carry capacity. You carry those, I'll carry, like, you know, the gems, gold, etc, etc. Oh, better and better over here. Okay, we've got one chest locked. And for the time being, I can actually do... hang on, we've got potential trouble. I mean, you cool friend.
You are beautiful.
I like Intellect Devourers. They just seem really chill. They just wander around saying you're beautiful, etc, etc. Everyone was saying to me when I played this game back in early access, John, don't trust the squid people. The squid people are bad. I'm not sure I believe that, okay? The Intellect Devourers are delightful. So right, we can't open that chest just yet. We've not got like a lockpick available. But we've also got here...
Faint images appear in your mind. A brain, a Githyanki warrior, and centuries of darkness.
Okay, that might be relevant because, yeah, I'm part of this psychic network right now, so, a Githyanki warrior, possibly Lae'zel, so, right. Are you maybe, like, several hundred years old? Is that just how Githyanki warriors work? Or maybe you've been, like, you know, in cryogenic brain sleep in the ship for ages or something? Right, something to look into when we're not trying to escape from the giant squid shell. Okay, now I've got all the valuables out of the room, we can turn our attention to, yes, this pod here.
You! Get me out of this damn thing! We have no time for stragglers.
And I disagree, Lae'zel. Right now there's only two of us. Another pair of hands, that'd be bloody useful. So, right, let's get working on getting this thing open. So, okay, we've got a weird fleshy thing here and... you know what? I'm just going to whack it.
Nothing. The console remains dormant.
I deeply appreciate that when you kick it, it makes a squishy sound because it's made out of flash.
The mechanisms are completely unrecognizable at first, but then you spy an empty socket.
Okay, find something to plug in, come back, get Shadowheart out of the tube. Got it. Okay, well, Brainfriend was going in this direction, so just mosey after you through the disgusting doors that exist inside this here ship. And straight away, we've got some more corpses, so... okay, another weapon that I can't use, but a key. There was a chest on that desk just a second ago, so we'll get back to you in just a second, buddy. Keep on keeping on. And we've got another person in another pot here, and another button too, so... give it a go, Arya. I believe you can, like, you know, translate at least something here.
Perfect.
Okay. Perfect, so... I feel like I shouldn't push that button, because perfecting someone from the perspective of, yes, a race of people made up of squids and brains with legs. I think you're going to be happier if I don't push this button, so I'm just going to not do that. Instead, yeah, keep on keeping on, check out the other corpses, and there we go. Another thing highlighted in orange, meaning an important quest thing. On this occasion, an Eldritch rune. So, right, that'll be what we need for Shadowheart. So, step one, the most important thing, now we're getting somewhere. Money, jewels, that's why I'm here on this adventure. And with that done, I guess we can free Shadowheart over here.
Suddenly, you feel a hideous squirming in your head. A parasite. Then discomfort fades, and another sensation washes over you. Connection. Authority.
So okay, will the pod to open, though wisdom is not my strong suit? But yes, luckily, this is only difficulty class of 2, which you might think means I can't possibly fail it, because with wisdom plus 1, thanks to my wisdom stat, yeah, even if I rolled 1, that would be boosted to 2. But no, there's 2 little stings in the tail to the dice rolling system, which is, if you roll a 1, doesn't matter how many bonuses you've got, that's a failure. 20, meanwhile, is always a success no matter what, so roll the dice and... Alright, 18. Very, very manageable as it turns out.
You feel the biomechanical brain of the console process your command and yield to it. A shiver runs across your mind. You feel sated.
And alright, we've now got ourselves a Shadowheart down on the ground. Beautiful.
I thought that damn thing was going to be my coffin. Thank you.
Your mind lurches into her thoughts. Her gratitude is mixed with wariness, because you have a Gith with you.
You keep dangerous company.
And yes, I do, which is a good idea when you're on a squid ship filled with demons.
Fair point. Looks like there's plenty of fighting ahead. Let me come with you. We can get off this ship and watch each other's backs along the way. One moment.
Okay, she just went and grabbed something from the pots.
It's nothing. Trust me.
Enough of this chatter. We need to get to the helm. Now.
She's right. Lead on.
Oh, you've got a tragic backstory dodecahedron over there, don't you? Oh yeah, there it is, mysterious artifact. So, can I just take that off you and move it to my inventory and whatnot? No, she's not willing to hand that over. Anything else I could move around, I assume. That's not allowed. And right, speaking of Shadowheart, so she's a cleric, meaning her primary stat is wisdom, because, yeah, it kind of feels like she's halfway between me and Lae'zel. Like me, she can cast spells, some of which are cantrips, so, you know, relatively nice, cheap, easy spells, some of which are much more flipping powerful. But she's also wearing medium armor, she's got a shield, so, yeah, she's much better at standing in the front line. So, you know, she could do some frontline fighting, some spell casting, so, okay, welcome to the team. So, okay, keep on keeping on, I think, yes, this is the only way we've not been yet. Oh, though I can't help but be a tiny bit concerned because, yes, the game just dropped another autosave. And also, there's one of those machines that restores your health inside this room. So, we don't need that, but, okay. I suspect we're walking in some trouble here.
Do it. We will deal with the Gate after we escape.
Connect the nerves. Nerves! We will connect them.
I adore you, Brian. The way he says nerves there is just lovely. So, right, I appear to have walked into an absolute cocking mess here. We've got, like, you know, demons attacking mind flayers, other creatures just flying in to attack me. Basically, I've just got to get to the other end of the room and hit the button there before 50 turns runs out. Otherwise, I die. So, yes, my objective is not to win this fight, for one simple reason. Commander Zulk here is level 8, as is this Mind Flayer. So, those guys are going to fight each other, that's fine. I'm sure there are very clever ways to defeat Commander Zulk, even though you're level 1, if you really know this game very well. I do not, so I'm not going to be worrying about that, okay? These guys up front here, they're more my speed, alright? Level 1 lesser imps, that'll do. So all we want to do here is, attack and run. So, Brian the Badass, you get in over here. If you are lucky, you might be able to not quite get the kill. And that's fine. Just end your turn there. Next up, we've got Lae'zel. So, right, can you get over to this guy? You could, but yeah, the most direct path would bring you through some fire on the ground there. So, avoid that if you can. That would be safe, apparently. Just okay with that. So, yeah, we want to bring you in and hit this guy with a nice big old attack if we can. So, yeah, we want him dead fast. Let's break out the good stuff here. So, because you're using a big old sword, you can break out the Lacerate. Not just tons of damage, but also potentially making the opponent bleed. If, of course, you can pass a dice roll, because everything in this game is a function of dice rolls. So, in you go, you get the hit, and he's bleeding. 2 damage per turn. Shame. If he was like, 1 hit point less, then we could just leave him, because the bleeding would be guaranteed to kill him. Though speaking of which, yes, always keep in mind what your bonus action might be able to do, because different classes and different weapons can do different things. So Lae'zel here, using her sword, can do a pommel strike with her bonus action. So nowhere near as powerful as a regular attack, but still, it's damage. And if she lands this, yeah, the Hellspore is guaranteed to die from the bleeding, even if this doesn't kill. So in you go. 2 damage, dazed, and now we don't need to worry about you anymore. You'll die at the beginning of your turn. Spot on. So right, over to Shadowheart. And yeah, let's talk about spellcasters nice and quick, because they've got a very fancy trick up their sleeve. As I was saying earlier, they've got cantrips so they can just spam as much as they want to, but they've also got spells. And spells are ridiculously strong. Like, Guiding Bolt here, up to 24 damage. Inflict Wounds, up to 30. But the payoff is, you can only use them so many times. You've got finite spell slots. Right now, I can cast 2 actual spells, then I've got to go and have a lie down until I feel better. So, you've got to pick and choose when to use these things very carefully. But just for fun, let's crack out a Guiding Bolt. So, you roll 4d6s, anything up to 24 damage, and even better, the next attack roll against that target has advantage. So, the follow-up blow will also have a very good chance of landing. So, you, sir, appear to be floating over there with a crossbow, probably ready to snipe at me. And I say, no, actually, no you don't. That's the power of spellcasters. As long as they've still got spell slots, which, as I say, might potentially run out pretty fast. Okay, Ari is up. We know this guy's going to die. In fact, never mind. Sorry, he already died. I just didn't notice on account of, yes, the fact it was bleeding that did it. You're the only one who's left on the field who's paying attention to me. So just get in over here. Give you a stabbing, good sir, and there we go. Very, very nice indeed. And yes, as there are no more enemies floating around, let's crack out the Bard's signature ability. Bardic Inspiration, so even after my action, I can use my bonus action to inspire a friend. Adding to their attack rolls, ability checks, saving throws, basically anything they might need. It just makes my friends better at doing whatever it is they're doing. So go on, Lae'zel, you can have a little bit of inspiration, given you just did so well against that boar. Jess, meanwhile, oh dear. Things are not going well for Squid Friend. We need to get a shufty on, by the way, because when this guy dies and he's already half dead, this guy's going to turn to us instead, so yeah, we need to cocky go. So I'm going to say this would be a good opportunity to, yes, crack out dash and swap my action for twice as much movement so we can really bloody get a move on towards the rear of the room. Like, I'm not worried about that time limit on the right. I'm concerned about the level 8 demon murdering me. Though while we're passing by, Lae'zel, if you could just check all the corpses, grab all the loot, etc, etc, that'd be appreciated too. Oh, better and better, some of the Mind Flare corpses, they've got precious stones on them, so right, be sure to check the Mind Flare corpses in particular. Okay, team moves forward, that was wave 1. There's one more wave before we reach the button, so same as we've seen before. Couple of imps and a Hellspore, and he's the dangerous one. Because yeah, it's not just got more health, it's also got a higher AC, so it's way more likely to avoid attacks. You can always scan any enemy you want to try and figure out what their strengths or weaknesses might be. So yeah, with their low AC, even though Lae'zel's not very good with bows or whatnot, yeah, she's still got a good chance hitting these guys just because their AC is so flipping poor. So there we go. Bad damage roll, unfortunately, but at least we're slowly chipping them down. Speaking of which, right. Shadowheart runs forward, tosses in a fireball, melts that first one. So right, now we're just down to 2, and there'll be nothing between me and the button. And given the Hellspaw is, yes, maybe a tiny bit more of a risk than the others, let's try breaking out Vicious Mockery, one of my bard's abilities. So, yeah, it's only got a 65% chance of hitting, and it's not going to do that much damage, though, bear in mind, that's not really the point. The point is, it's going to make that guy roll disadvantage on his next attack roll. The opposite of advantage that we saw earlier. He has to roll 2 dice when he's attacking, and always pick the lowest. So, he's very unlikely to be able to hit us. And that's great. But that's not even the real star of the show, because when you cast this spell...
You're a foul blister. I shall prick thee.
You genuinely just yell an insult at them. So on that occasion, we didn't actually hit him. But I kinda don't care, because Vicious Mockery is just hilarious anyway. So if we're lucky, you'll just come forward, attack Brian, that's fine. Brian has all the health in the world, so that is not an issue. Yeah, Brian's doing a great job tanking, and Squid Frenzy's so almost dead. We need to get out of here, like, now. So, okay. You could go and attack that guy. This guy would attack you because you're trying to walk past him when he's a melee enemy. Honestly, I think that's fine. I'd rather get this guy down, which Brian's got a good chance of doing. So there's one attack. That is fine. Keep on keeping on. And you go down. So right, that's one enemy dead, though. Gosh darn it, Brian can't quite make it to the console this turn. So yeah, just move, fire on this occasion, and we just want to be, yeah, getting this done quick. And ideally being as far away as possible from this guy when this fight over here ends. So yeah, if we're lucky, Shadowheart could just run in and finish off the Hellboar right now. Okay, that might have been an overkill with a critical hit, meaning I'm pretty sure she just rolled a 20 on one of her attack rolls there. Beautiful. Meaning the path is now open for us to just, yes, sprint forward, loot the final few corpses. Beautiful. Especially given, oh, misses one attack and... never mind, the squid is dead, and yep, that guy's now coming to us. It's time to get this done. Brian, get us out of here.
This creature can't activate the transponder.
Right, never mind, Brian can't activate the transponder. Right, in which case, Arya, you do the honors.
The helm's alien transponder. You've made it in time.
I'm deeply sad we don't get to see that cutscene with Brian doing all sorts of acrobatic heroics and whatnot. That would have been brilliant. So, okay. Just before we hit the ground, something saved me from dying. More importantly, right, it's now day. Suggesting all those things that saw the ship coming in, they saw that last night, so they're probably on their way.
Other than the infection, you're more or less intact. A miracle, given everything you've been through. But it'll all be for nothing if you don't find help soon. The tadpole is a death sentence, and the clock is ticking. You need a cure.
Right, main objective, sort out the tadpole situation. Got it. And, oh dear. I think there was some fishermen down on the beach when the nautiloid came down, so we definitely just crushed some people during our landing. However, we've also gone to one friend, Shadowheart, unconscious, not dead, so... okay, no sign of the rest of the team, but bare minimum, we've still got one friend. And better, she's holding her tragic backstory dodecahedron, so... if I was just to, like, take that now, then presumably she won't be able to come up to me in 20 hours' time and say, "Oh my goodness, Arya, my little sister, who's been missing her for a decade, has suddenly sent me this letter. So me and the tragic backstory dodecahedron have got to go to Windhelm immediately in order to..." No. If we just steal it right now, she can't do any of that, because she won't have a tragic backstory dodecahedron anymore. So, just grab it, nice and quick, while she's unconscious. Oh dear. I think she just woke up at a very inconvenient moment.
What are you doing?
I think she knows precisely what I was doing, so I'm going to fess up and say yes, I was planning to loot you.
Well, that's honest of you. Don't do it again. I'll give you a pass this time, considering I owe you my life. And speaking of, how are we alive?
Delightfully, as a bard, I could just, dramatically state it might have been divine intervention.
The divine tend to keep their interventions close to the chest. Though, I suppose it's not impossible.
So, okay. What happened to, Lae'zel? Because she was a badass. We could do with getting her back too.
You might want to reconsider calling her a friend. Looks like she ran off without us.
I guess it's not impossible, but yeah, Shadowheart's had issues with Lae'zel right from the start, so, okay, we'll dig into that later. What do we do now, precisely?
First things first. We need supplies, shelter, and most of all, a healer.
We might have escaped, but we still have these little monsters in our heads.
And okay, that's fair. A good start for sorting out the tadpole problem would be doctors. Some of them might have seen something like that before.
One thing, just before we go. I wanted to thank you again for freeing me. It would have been all too easy for you to run right past my pod, but you didn't. I'll remember that. Lead the way.
Alright, so despite the whole me attempting to loot her thing, she's apparently, yes, perfectly chill travelling with me for now, and, much more importantly, I think recruiting Shadowheart just got me some XP, because all of a sudden, the level up button is flashing, and, okay, now's the moment I get to reveal my genius master plan. So, back to the character build screen, down by the river, one assumes, given that song plays in the background while you're doing it, and... yes, at this point, I could become a level 2 bard and pick up a whole bunch of new bard stuff. But that's not the only option. If instead I go for the Add Class button, then I could stay as a level 1 bard and maintain all the abilities I've had so far, and instead become a level 1 in something else as well. And yes, do bear in mind, as a bard I'm basically a charisma spellcaster. And there are several charisma spellcasters in this game, meaning it's relatively easy for me to be both a bard and one of those. And the one I'm thinking of in particular is a sorcerer. And the reason for that is, you may recall I was very excited while building this character that I would have advantage on every single intimidation and performance check on account of being a Zariel tiefling. Well, what if I could have advantage on every single skill check in the bloody game? Because that's precisely what I can do if I become a wild magic sorcerer. Because, you see, wild magic sorcerers, basically chaos mages, get access to the tides of chaos, meaning they can point out any skill check and say, you know what, I'd like advantage please, just to make it a bit safer. they can't do it for every check because when you do it, you've got to have a little rest before you can do it again and whatnot. But still, that is just so powerful for a bard who's going to be doing a huge amount of bloody skill checks. And on top of that, yes, this feeds into the other wonderful feature that wild mages get access to, which is wild magic in general. What this means is, every time I cast a spell, there is a chance that something will happen. It might be good, it might be bad. I simply don't know. There'll just be chaos breaking out at random constantly. Okay, I'm no longer just a bard. I'm a chaos bard, damn it. And even better, after you use Tides of Chaos, the chance of it happening rises up to 50%. So, yeah, this is going to be happening a lot, because I'm going to be using Tides of Chaos a lot, so oh, this is going to be wonderful. And there's other advantages too. For example, sorcerers are much more traditional magic users. So, while bards are still with a lot of cantrips that are very support focused, sorcerers get access to a lot more aggressive magic. So, right now, I can pick a whole bunch of additional cantrips. What I want out of these is, basically, yes, a good spread of reliable damage dealing spells. Though I'm going to be honest, I also can't help but notice that one of the spells is explode corpses in order to damage nearby people. I don't care if that's good or not, we're taking that, obviously. Beyond that, yes, let's take a good, sensible spread of spells here. So, Firebolt, say. Good solid damage, nice range attack, and, as it's fire, I can use it to, like, you know, explode things, etc, etc. Then we've got Ray of Frost. Not quite as strong, but it slows targets down. So for melee enemies trying to rush me, this could be very useful indeed. And finally, Shocking Grasp. So yeah, lightning damage on this occasion, and delightfully has advantage on anyone who's wearing armour that conducts electricity. So, you know, a very reliable spell, I assume. So yeah, that there is a good spread, and it means that my cantrips can do a lot more reliable damage. And speaking of spells, we also get 2 more of those, and I'm going to be honest, I was about to give, like, you know, a big speech about how it's very important I pick very carefully, mixing high damage with utility. Then I noticed that one of the spells is Enhance Leap, that just makes my jumping distance be 3 times what it would be otherwise. And obviously I'm taking that, I don't care what the rest of these spells do, I'm having the acrobatic spell, damn it. Beyond that, yeah, I probably just want some high damage, so Burning Hands is pretty good, up to 18, Magic Missile only goes up to 15, but it's also 100% accurate, that's pretty nice. But I think I'll go for Chromatic Orb, that seems to be like the highest damage spell floating around the spell list right now, so up to 24 damage, which is pretty good. And on top of that, yeah, this spell, by the looks of it, can actually be changed in terms of its damage type, so that sort of versatility sounds good to me. Let's go for that. Oh, and Shadowheart's leveling up too, though her level up is much less interesting. She just gets, like, you know, a bit of health, additional spell slots so she can do a bit more spellcasting, and Divinity, which is like the cleric's unique currency they use to cast mega spells, like Turn Undead. So, you know, if there's skeletons around, she might be useful against that sort of thing. So, we'll dig into her abilities later. Let's get back down onto the beach here. Because crucially, yeah, this is as far as I can jump, which is, you know, fine, I suppose. But if we just do this spell nice and quick, then all of a sudden, no one will ever convince me that this was a bad decision. This is the greatest decision I've ever cooking made. Still, I would say, having embraced my destiny as Arya the Chaos Bard, how about we call it a punt there? But don't you worry, because obviously this is our brand new series, and as a result, our adventure has only just begun. So join me next episode as we explore the crash site, see if we can find the rest of our missing friends, and just in general, properly kick off our brand new adventure. So hopefully you are looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I've been John, this has been Many a True Nerds, and this has been the wonderful Baldur's Gate 3. Thank you very much, and goodbye. So okay, I've been outwitted by a butterfly and beaten up by a fish.
Stop right there, criminal scum!
I didn't steal anything! I'm sorry, I touched the shoes while I was shoe shopping. Okay, I feel like I may have just, walked in on something. What about this person? Can we talk to this person?